Welcome back. Every time there is a school shooting, people ask the question, what causes a teenager to be so violent, to have such a disregard for human life? Our Ellen Kolodziej takes a look at the possibility that violent video games may play a role.
Thank you, Larry. The country is obviously still reeling from that horrific shooting in Florida, and many people are screaming for tougher gun laws or more money for mental health issues. But many others are calling for a national conversation about electronic violence and what effect that could have on young minds.
School violence erupted again today, suddenly and with a vengeance.
Columbine High in Littleton, Colorado, it has been a horror.
On April 20th, 1999, the nation witnessed the deadliest school shooting at that point in our history, when 15 people died at Columbine High School in Colorado.
Authorities in Littleton, Colorado were securing the scene of a deadly school shooting so they could make a final body count.
After that, the images became far too frequent, with even younger victims. December 14th, 2012.
Callers indicating she thinks there's someone shooting in the building.
Americans watched again in shock when 20 first graders were slaughtered, along with 6 adults at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Connecticut.
How could someone have done this, and how could someone have killed these kids?
Some reports show that almost all the school shooters in the past were influenced in some way by the internet, social media, and especially violent video games. Governor Matt Bevin of Kentucky says he's convinced that the culture of death being celebrated in all kinds of media was the trigger for all of these shootings, including the most recent one in Parkland, Florida.
We have become significantly desensitized to death and to violence, and we are training children, whether we intend to or not, whether it's anyone's desire or not, through video games, through movies, through musical lyrics, through television shows.
If you've got a child who's in a home where there's a lot of aggression, then they get aggression at school, then they get aggression online. And then they are playing aggressive games. It is not unlikely that they will begin to act out aggressively.
Professor Elizabeth Dowdell has studied risky internet behavior and teens for years at the M. Louise Fitzpatrick College of Nursing at Villanova. She says violent video games give teenagers a sense of power inside a fantasy life that they sometimes take into the real world.
He's got a very different persona in that game. So why can that persona do something that he can't? And of course, we see when he decides to do something, he gets his gun, which perhaps made him feel more in charge, more authoritative, just having it. And of course, just having it wasn't enough. He then moved forward. It's that whole, you disrespected me, I'm going to blow your head off.
Even President Trump weighed in, suggesting we may need a tougher rating system for movies and games.
We have to do something about maybe what they're seeing and how they're seeing it, and also video games. I'm hearing more and more people say the level of violence on video games is really shaping young people's thoughts.
Now, obviously, millions of teenagers around the country get on their cell phones every day to get on social media. They also play video games in their homes and at places like this one here in Cherry Hill. But very few ever resort to violence. But experts say it's still a great idea to know what they're playing and to know what they're doing online to possibly prevent another tragedy from ever happening. Reporting for Jersey Matters from Cherry Hill, I'm Ellen Kolodziej.
When we come back, we're going to talk to 2 law enforcement officials and ask them if they are confident that New Jersey schools are safe. That's when Jersey Matters continues.